Captain Insano shows no mercy.
Straight cash, homie.
Hold on to your butts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Basic Monsters Game Day Podcast. I'm Ivan Vargas. That's Luke Nettles. What's up, dude? I'm tired of shit.
I heard that.
Yeah, I know.
They quit playing these games every day, man.
I know, man. Like I forgot. So, like this morning after when we were wrapping up with Sean and Maya, I was just like, oh shit! Like we got 2 games on tonight. I had to go ahead and get a show ready for the Monday Night Football doubleheader. I call it double fisting on Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it should be a good one. I honestly believe it's going to be a good one, regardless of the teams that are playing. It should be a good night of football. We got the Washington football team versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers, in the first matchup coming up at 4:00. And honestly, dude, this is a matchup that's interesting. The number 1 defense versus the number 2 defense overall. You have Mike Tomlin, Ron Rivera. There's an Alex Smith factor on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody's rooting for Alex Smith
For sure.
But Washington, I know although they're in the East, just like the New York Giants,
Mm-hmm.
they're a team that's on the rise. And with that number 2 defense, I'm telling you, dude, I'm a little bit worried. We saw how Pittsburgh played last week against a B squad, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
They're susceptible. I could see a fun game in the first one against Washington, with Washington and Pittsburgh, but we'll see. It's all gonna come down to is Pittsburgh going to be able to run and control the clock?
Yeah, I mean, is Connor playing? Is Bud Dupree healthy? I know he went out of the game and he had an injury, so they're going to be down a few spots. I think the biggest factor in this matchup is going to be Minkah Fitzpatrick. If Alex, I know Alex isn't the 60-yard down the field guy. His arm's just not. He's never been that guy. He's just a game manager. That's pretty much all he is. But he makes the right reads. He keeps the ball in your possession. But Minkah Fitzpatrick on that Steelers defense, man, that guy, he can make you pay, and he make you pay in a hurry, and he can put up 6 behind it. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, with Minkah. And if they do decide to, try to get deep, I'm looking forward to that. Gibson, running back for Washington, coming off a stellar game last week, and just killing it last week. So I want to see if he's able to run on that Pittsburgh defense, because I feel like if he does that, and Alex could just manage this game, they've got a real good shot at beating these Steelers.
They really do. The Pittsburgh offense is not that great. They're a passing offense, but they're only doing one phase of that of that unit really well. It's not like they're all world where they could run it, they could pass it, and they could although Big Ben has had time to throw, that's been a key. He's only been sacked 10 times?
I don't even know if it's that many. I mean, it's not very many.
It's not very many. 10, 11 times, I believe, he's been sacked. It's the fewest in the league. So that's been a huge boost to that passing game, because, like I said, the running game hasn't really been there. Connor comes back tonight. The inactives, you got the inactives for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got quarterback Josh Dobbs, kicker Chris Boswell, cornerback Steven Nelson, defensive tackle Carlos Davis, offensive tackle Derwin Gray, and tight end Kevin Rader. And for the Washington football team, you got wide receiver Reuben Foster, safety Cole Luke, D end Ryan Anderson, linebacker Jordan Kuzik, and wide receiver Jeff Badditt. Those are the inactives for both teams. And honestly, you're going to see a team from Pittsburgh full go for the most part. But, like I said, you're also going to see a Washington football team that's really motivated. They have a shot. The Giants beat the Seahawks yesterday in a shocker. The Giants beat the Seahawks in a shocker. And, they sit alone as of right now. But Washington needs they need to win out. They in order to have a shot, they need to win out, and anything could happen. The Giants are good, but there's still enough time for Washington to keep pace. They just have to win games.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to, because the Giants have won 4 straight now. Nobody's talking about that. The Giants are, and in this last game, they won without their starting quarterback.
Right.
So I mean, the Giants are starting.
Old Colt.
Yeah, old Colt. He used to play for Washington, actually.
That's right.
They're going to have to keep pace if they want it to change. I mean, it's not hard to believe that either of those teams, the Giants or the Redskins, could win that division because Philly absolutely sucks, and then the Cowboys. We all know about the Cowboys, so it's wide open. Like I said, they just got to keep their head of steam going. The way you beat the Steelers is QB pressure. Take that passing game away from them, and their run game's not that great.
And you saw last week Ben throw up an absolute duck in the middle of the field. It didn't get knocked down. The receiver caught it. It was a miracle, to be honest, if you want to call it that. It wasn't quite Tariq Hill last night miracle catch, but it fell into the receivers. I will say that he just lucked into it. The ball found its way to him. You can't. I don't think you can have that with this Washington football team defense. They're coming after you. They're coming after you, and they're very young. They're very hungry, and they have high motors. And you got Ron Rivera back there, giving out the signals. And I feel like this is going to be a trap game. If there is a trap game, you want to call it a trap game. This is a trap game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they don't pay attention to Washington, they could get embarrassed.
Oh yeah, and the other thing is, the other thing, just like we talked about with the Titans and some of these other teams, Washington's a big team. Like, they're just big guys. They wear you down physically, and the next thing you know, bam, you're starting to get took for 10-yard runs, 15-yard runs. Gibson, if he can maintain what he's been doing over these last couple of weeks, man, that defense is going to be in for it. I mean, I know you got T.J. Watt back there. You got, I don't know if Bush is was Bush on that inactive list? I didn't hear you say his name, so maybe he's not. But then, Dupree sounds like he's going to go too. So those linebackers are going to have their work cut out. Right. And then you got McLaurin and the rest, Logan Thomas and Jordan Reed and the rest of them on, right behind those linebackers. So I think this is going to be a chess match. And I think Ron Rivera has the remedy for Washington's ailments going into this game. Because I think Ron is, it's new coach this season. No, we always talk about no preseason, blah, 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 blah. But Alex Smith didn't start this season with this team, so he's kind of he's coaching on the fly.
Yeah, he had a carousel quarterback. I mean, it's been a carousel quarterback for Washington,
and
he's found himself in position where I believe they're going to contend with Pittsburgh tonight. I really do. Yeah. You have yourself in a position that you're one game away, and you could do a whole hell of a lot for your football team. You could beat the number one team in the league. You could go ahead and match what the Giants have been doing. And sit there at 5-7. So you're keeping pace with the Giants. That would be a huge boost for a football team that's been kind of like, who are we? I think they know who they are. They're a defensive football team. They're starting to run the football well. And they have a quarterback that doesn't screw up. That's how they found themselves right here, like still in the race, still in the hunt for the NFC East crown. Surprising or not, they're still in the hunt. Even though the Giants have beaten the Seahawks yesterday.
Yeah, no, I mean the greatest thing about the Washington football team is the simple fact that Ron Rivera's got these guys doing what they've doing, but he's also been fighting his own battles with the cancer and everything going on too. So hats off to that dude, man. He's a one of a kind of guy. I love him. I liked his defenses that he had on Carolina. When he had Kuechly and Davis and all those guys, man, like he had some really good defenses in Carolina.
Chico.
Yeah. I mean, the dude just knows what's going on that side of the ball. So I think that's exactly what Washington needed. I don't think that they've really been too heavy on their defense since about the time that we lost Sean Taylor.
Yeah,
that's probably the last time I could really say that the Washington defense was really stout.
Well, I felt like their team was just trying to grab in whatever they could. They didn't know what they want to focus on, and they just started grabbing pieces from here, from there, and just trying to scramble and make both sides of the ball perfect. And that didn't work. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked forever. You know what I'm saying? Since maybe Snyder's gotten there, because he's been doing this. It's been kind of they kind of found themselves lucky a little bit in the early 2000s. They made some playoff runs, but then it's been like, what? Washington, really? They're in the league. It's kind of been like that for them. So Ron Rivera has brought a culture into that franchise. He's brought a culture that honestly, you're seeing it right now. It's complementary football with high motor players that love to play the game.
Yeah, it's just a never quit mindset. I mean, like, and who better to give that competition than a head coach that's been in the football league and then is battling cancer at the same time? Like, if that doesn't show you some kind of like inspiration and get you pumped up and make you want to fight for that guy, then I don't know if you're even a human at that point.
Are you alive? Are you
right? Do you even have a pulse?
Yeah, are you even breathing at that time?
Right.
All right, and let's wrap this game up because I know it's getting close. We got 3 minutes until game time, and I want to go ahead and talk about the Buffalo game at half. But I want to go ahead and get to this one. What is your take on this game? How do you think this game flows, and who ends up coming out on top?
Man, I think it's going to be, I think Pittsburgh comes out and maybe kind of puts a little shock on them. Just kind of comes out, hits them fast, and puts up points fast. But I feel as the game wears on, that the Washington defense settles down. I feel like Ben's going to throw 2 picks, and I feel I'm going to call this one for Washington, man. I'm going to say 23-20 Washington.
I like that. I like that. The offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers has slowed down drastically, and you got a team over there that's hungry. They're young, they're hungry, and they've been finding some success. And for young teams, finding a little bit of success in certain areas, man, that might be the thing that gets you going. Find the success as a coach. Find where you're good at and exploit that shit, because that might be the best thing that you have. Right,
and like I said, I feel like if Washington could get that run game going, I feel like the weakness in the Steelers defense is the 2 corners. The safeties, you still have Minka, so he usually makes up for a bad play underneath him. So Minka's going to be there to back it up. But I feel like if you could get that ball, run that ball, and then start getting these receivers on these one-on-one matchups with these DBs, with McLaurin and Sims and all those guys, I look for one of those guys to bust it open.
Terry McLaurin is the man. Like, I'm not going to lie. Terry McLaurin is the man from Ohio State University. Terry McLaurin, like, you did not really hear about him.
Mm-mm.
It was Terry McLaurin. You're like, all right, Terry McLaurin, he's from Ohio State. He could probably play. But, dude, the production that he's been given, this team, with the quarterbacks that he's had.
Right.
Like, it's admirable. It's exceptional. I'll say that.
Right.
I think Terry McLaurin might be he's like the diamond in the rough on that team, on that offense at least.
Mm-hmm.
Terry McLaurin is a all-pro type of player. And I look forward to watching him play because he makes plays. Every game he makes plays, man. Every game he makes
nonstop.
Plays. Nonstop. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with you, dude. I think this one has upset written all over it. I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to go with the Washington football team 23, Pittsburgh Steelers 20. 3-point game. I'm just going to give it a 3-point spread. You know what I'm saying? Nothing insane like they blow them out. I think it's going to be a really, really close game. And I think, it's going to come down to mistakes, but I think that pressure from Washington is going to hit Big Ben. Look, Chase Young is the truth. Chase Young should probably end up being, maybe, I don't know. I have to see some rookies around the league. I'm sure there's other rookies that are good around the league. But Chase Young, man, like, if you see him play, he belongs.
For sure.
Flat out belongs. And honestly, I think he's going to have a big game tonight.
Yeah, and that can spell catastrophe because, Ben is susceptible to injury, A, and then B, like he'll cough the ball up. If you put a good lick on him, he's going to cough that ball up. And that's what I think it's going to boil down to because, that has to be Washington's MO because if you're able to get to Ben, you negate their passing attack altogether. And you force them to be one-dimensional on the ground, which is somewhere where they don't necessarily have the greatest the greatest tandem over there with Snell and Connor. So if you could get back to Ben and get to him quick, then, man, it's going to spell disaster for the Steelers. But, like I did, they are the Steelers. They're resilient. They have good receivers. Deontay's come on. You still got Claypool back there. I think he only has one game this season that he hasn't caught a touchdown. So those are definitely not the guys that you want to have the ball in their hands.
No, definitely not. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for the pregame of Washington and Pittsburgh. We'll get to you guys at halftime, and then we'll break down a little bit of the next game, which will be the Buffalo Bills versus the San Francisco 49ers, which should be a good one. As well. I could see San Francisco battling.
You'll learn a lot about Buffalo in this game.
Wait, you know what? I think you're absolutely right. That's the perfect comment to have made about that game. You're going to find out a lot about both teams, but definitely about Buffalo. Are they the team that's going to? Are they the team that's going to knock your ass out or not?
Are they on the rise? I mean, are they clicking? Because
you beat teams like that. Like you make sure you beat teams like this. If you're the Buffalo Bills, because you want to be looked at as a team on the rise, or as a team that has cemented itself in the upper tier of teams in the league. You can't lose a game like this to a 49ers team that has had the amount of injuries and the lack of production in certain areas that it's had. You cannot lose this game.
Yeah, this will be their statement game for, like I say, we talked last night. You said you were picking them to come up from behind and be sneaky, sneak in there. So, but in order for them to do that, they have to beat teams like this. I think they're traveling to San Francisco, correct?
I believe so. Yeah, at San Francisco.
Yeah, so I mean that in itself, it's always those coast teams that have to go from one coast to the other. Sometimes I don't know if it's jet lag or just the time difference or what it is, but sometimes you see them kind of run flat a little bit. So you'll see everything you need to know about Buffalo today.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little more when we get to the half of Washington and Pittsburgh. All right, guys. Until then, this has been the Basic Monsters podcast on Sports Zone Chicago. Look out for us at the half of Washington and Pittsburgh. Peace.
Captain Insano shows no mercy.
Straight cash, homie.
Hold on to your butts.